Welcome back everyone to the Hello World Guy, and this is the first episode of our new series, and in this series we are going to learn how to make games using Python and Pygame. So if you don't already know, Python can be used to create games, and there are a bunch of different libraries that are available for that. And the most common one is Pygame. There are some libraries other than Pygame that you can use, and there are some like bindings of C++ and C libraries that exist in Python. For example, I think Relic exists as well along with SFML, and there are a bunch of different stuff that you can use, and a bunch of different libraries have got bindings exist, and for some libraries there are bindings being worked on, but Pygame is by default is generally considered the most popular one and the most common one as well when you are creating games using Python. So in this series we are going to create a couple of small and simple games using Pygame to understand how it works, and if you want to get started using game development in Python, you should probably watch this series. So in this video we are just going to begin by just understanding how Pygame works and getting some drawings on our screen. So in order to start, we'll go here, and you can see we have I've got like a new folder open up in Visual Studio, and before we start you should ensure that you have got actual Python installed here, and I'm going to create a new file called game.py. And by the way, this series assumes that you already know basic Python. You don't need to be an expert in it. We'll explain things as we go, but you should know the basic syntax of Python. So after we have got that, we are going to open up the terminal here, and you should ensure that you install the Pygame module. For this you are going to say pip install Pygame, and if I press enter, you can see it says that requirement already exists because I have already downloaded it, and I'm using an outdated version. It's doing that, and you can, if you are using an outdated version, you can update it if you want. Anyways, I'm going to clear the console for now, and let's go back under game.py and get started with using Pygame to create a basic window. So in here I'm going to first of all import the Pygame module, and you can import it as PG if you want to just write shorter, but I'm not going to do that. The first thing we must do is initialize Pygame, and once we are done with everything, you can quite guess that we should probably quit the Pygame module, and between these two things we'll have all of our main program. And what we'll need to do here is like most programs, you know, they start with a loop, and most games and also most Windows based programs, like they start with a loop that goes over, like just keeps running until the window or the game is closed, and it basically does a bunch of stuff. So it's like similar to that. We are going to create a variable called running, which we are going to set to true. Now we'll go while we are running, we'll just keep executing this while loop while this running condition is true. Now in this while loop, what we want to do, I'm going to write some pseudocode here, is we are going to first of all want to handle the events and then do the drawing. So for handling the events, what we'll need to do is we'll need to loop through the events, and you can handle events individually here, and if the event is the close event, then we are going to set running to false. So in order to implement this, I'm going to remove this pass statement. We'll go for event in pygame.event.get. This get function will return a list of events, and we'll go through each of those events, and for each event we'll check if event.type is equal to pygame.quit. Quit is a constant, and if that is the case, we'll set running to false. Pretty simple. And for drawing, we need to use a screen, of course, and we have not even initialized a screen. So we are going to create a variable called screen, and this is going to be of type display, just so you know. Not display or surface. So we'll we'll initialize it to pygame.display.set mode, and this set mode you can pass I think it has got a bunch of different arguments, and the most important one that we care about is the actual coordinates. So for the coordinates, we are going to pass in 800 by 800, which is going to represent the width and height of our screen. So our screen is going to be 800 on the x and y axis. So for the drawing, what we will do is we will call first of all the screen.fill method, which will require an RGB again value, which I'll just pass in 255, 255 and 150, and this will give it a pale yellow color. And then what we will do is we will call pygame.display.flip. This function is necessary so that it because this is double buffered, so it will flip the back buffer that we are drawing to, and it will actually display it on the screen, and we'll fill it with yellow color on each frame, and that should basically cause us to get something yellow on our screen. So let's go ahead and open up our terminal, and let's go ahead and run the game.py. So you can see that I have got a yellow window on my screen, and I can move it around, and I can also close it, and everything works perfectly. And now it's time to probably change it into something more interesting. We are going to display something on our screen, some drawing. So for drawing, we use the pygame.draw module. The way we'll use it is by saying pygame.draw, and it has a bunch of functions. We'll use circle, for example, and we can provide it with our screen, the first argument. The second one is supposed to be the color of the circle. I'll just pass in the same pale yellow color, and I'll fill the screen with black. And then what we will do is we will pass the circle's position, which is going to be 400 to position it in the exact center of the screen. And then for the radius, I'll just pass in 200 float value here. And now if I run this, you can see that on a black screen I have got a pale yellow circle, and that works perfectly. And I can change this to, there are a bunch of different functions here. So if I go down here, we should be able to see all of the different functions it has. It's got like a line, lines, and then arcs and circles, ellipses, and then more lines. These are like axis aligned lines, and polygons and rectangles. For example, you can choose rect here, and the arguments that it requires is like an actual rectangle. It requires a rect value, which is a specific kind of rectangle which provides with a position along with everything else. So if I go here, you can see it requires a rect value. I'll pass in 400, 400, and 400, 400, for example. And this argument is supposed to be the width. I won't pass that. And now if I go ahead and run this, what you can see is that I get a rectangle on the corner, because this represents the top left of the rectangle. So if I were to put it, you can position it in the middle if you want to, by kind of positioning it at 200, right? So if I position it at 200 and 200, it should be in the center. So we are going to run that, and you can see we've got a rectangle at our center. And there are a bunch of different functions here. Play around with them and get comfortable creating different kinds of shapes using Pygame. Try creating multiple shapes, and in the next video we'll get started with the progress on our first game. So stay tuned for that. I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to like and subscribe as well, so you don't miss that one, and share this video with other people as well. And bye.